Hi everyone. So this first video about Excel is going to look at the basic features of Excel. In Excel, we're only going to really look at formulas and graphing in class. That's the main focus of Excel. Remember, with Excel, it's not a software that you'll use every single day. It's not a software that everyone uses all the time. It's not as common as Microsoft Word, mainly because the purpose of Excel is very, very specific. The reason why anyone would ever use Excel is to organize information, to organize data, to organize numerical information, numerical text. Other than that, you really wouldn't use Excel. It's a very, very specific program. So we're only going to look at the graphing feature of it, and we're only going to look at the formulas feature of Excel. Now, every Excel spreadsheet looks like this. This in front of you is called a worksheet. As you can see that there's a grid in front of you, along with all these letters up top and all these numbers going down to the bottom. Um, yeah, a lot of people would not have seen this. This might be new to a lot of people, but that's okay. It's not that complicated to figure out once you start using it. This in front of you is called a worksheet. Excel by default will give you 3 worksheets. You could add other worksheets if you like. This little icon right here will give you more worksheets, as many as you like. The worksheets could all hold different information, so I could put like the number 7 here, the number 8 here, and notice how every worksheet is new. It could all have different information on it. It doesn't just because you do one thing to one of the worksheets doesn't mean that it will do the same thing to all of them. They're all different. They're all treated differently. Um, these little squares in front of you, the ones that are now with the black thick box around it, which keeps moving around, these little squares are called cells. Now, the way the cells are read, they're read by the letter first and then the number. You can also see that up here in this little box up here. It tells you what you've selected. So if I select this right here, J2, it will tell you J2 up there. So it tells you the cell's name. Right here, B9. Again, the name of the cell comes up. If you take a look at the ribbon up here, it looks quite similar to Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint. That's a good thing about the Office suite. The Office suite, every software is laid out fairly the same. So Microsoft PowerPoint, Word, and Excel, they all look very similar in the way they're laid out. We have our home tab up here with the clipboard, the font alignment. A number is a little different. Then you've got the styles and the cells. These boxes are a little different compared to, so number, styles, and cells, compared to PowerPoint and Word. Editing, again, is fairly the same. You've got the Insert tab, which you've also seen before in the other 2 softwares. Page layout, you've seen in the other 2 softwares. Formulas is new to Excel, is new to us. It's special to Excel. Formulas you use in Excel you wouldn't use in anything else. We will talk about this formulas tab a little bit later. Data is also new, is also special to Excel. Review is the same with the other 2 softwares. View is also the same with the other 2 softwares. Developer you would not have on your computer. I have it on mine just because I've added it as a tab for the work that I do, but that's something that you don't need to worry about right now. So the first thing that we're going to look at is how to create formulas using Excel. Formulas, they allow for calculations to be made based on the information that you've entered, based on the data that you've entered or the numbers that you've put in. This little handout I've given you in class, so you should have a copy of this, but I'll have this up here as a reference anyway. So Excel will let you make a variety of different calculations, financial, mathematical, and there's formulas for all sorts of calculations that you're trying to make. The most important thing that formulas have, they must start off with a equal sign. This tells the software that you're going to be creating a formula. So you're trying to calculate a couple of numbers, and that's what you want the answer to. Other symbols that you must know about. So formulas are made up of essentially 4 items. And there are a couple of things that you need to know when creating a formula. The first thing is every single formula will have an equal sign in front of it. This is telling the software that you've created a formula and you would like an answer to some sort of formula that you've put in. The second thing that you need to know when creating a formula is this colon right here. and then the comma. So now what the colon represents, it will represent a group of cells that are being included within the calculation. So for example, if you want to add various numbers between 1a and all the way down to like 110, or sorry, A10, so you want to add A1 down to A10, you would represent all these numbers with a colon. Now, if you want two cells to be included in this mathematical calculation, or just in this calculation, or in the formula, you have to, sorry about that, you have to separate it, or you have to indicate that by a little comma. So, say for example, I want cell A1 to be added to the information in cell, if I want information in cell A1 to be added to the information in cell D1, I would put a comma in my formula. And that way, the software will know I'm only adding two cells opposed to a whole series of cells. Now, there's a variety of different formulas that are commonly used. Here's a list of common formulas. The first one is sum. Sum represents addition. If there's data that needs to be added, you are to include the word sum into your formula. This will let the program know that you're adding numbers. So for example, my first part, I'll do it actually here in Excel. Say for example, we've got 10 here, and E4 has 13, and I want to add these two numbers together, and I want the answer to be an A7. The first thing I would do is I'd always put the equal sign. Now my software knows that I'm going to be adding or subtracting or doing some sort of calculation within that cell. The second thing that I must always have in my formula is the actual operation, or the mathematical operation that I want. Now, according to this sheet right here, sum represents addition. So since I want to add my two numbers together, I'm going to type in the word sum. And there it is right here. A little box from Microsoft Excel will pop up saying adds all the numbers in a range of cells. So I know that that's going to be addition. Now, every single formula must also have a bracket. So I must open up my bracket, because now this is telling my software that I'm going to be adding a couple of numbers, or a couple of cells, or a few cells. So I'm going to add A1. So I'm going to type in A1 right there. And because there's only two numbers on my sheet right here, it says that since a comma represents individual cells that are being included in a calculation, I'm going to put a comma. And then I want to put E4 because that's my other cell that I would like. And now I'm going to close my bracket. You'll notice that my cells will be colored the same color, the corresponding color in my actual formula. So E4 is green, and then cell E4 has been highlighted green. A1 is blue, and the actual box has been highlighted blue. I'm going to close my bracket, hit enter, and there's the number 23 in A7. Up here, you'll notice the formula also comes up, so I can always double check what my formula is up in the formula bar. Okay. The next formula that we could try as an example, we could try a subtraction formula. So let's go back to the sheet here of common formulas. Right here it says IMSUB represents subtraction. If there is data that needs to be subtracted, adding IMSUB in your formula will allow the program to know that you are subtracting numbers. So example, in the formula equal IMSUB A1 and A2, the value in A1 is being subtracted with the value in A2. So we could do that as an example here now. So we don't want to add these two anymore. Say for example we want to actually subtract the value in A1 from the value in E4. What we would do is we would again do equal, because now the computer or the software knows that we're going to be doing a calculation. I'm going to type in IMSUB, and you can see right here it says returns a difference between two complex numbers. So when that means that the subtraction is being done there, my bracket will come up. I will type in A1. Again, my comma, because there's two individual cells that are being subtracted. E4. I will close my bracket, hit enter, and there's -3 in cell A7. And then the other formulas that I have So the other thing I could do with formulas, or another way to find formulas, is I could always go to the Formula tab. Now this tab up here will help me find various formulas. You're not expected to memorize or know every single formula, and that's why this tab is here. So what you could always do is you could always look for the function that you want to use, or look for the operation that you want to use. Say for example you would like to do division and you don't know what the operation or the function for division is. What you could do is where it says search for a function, you can actually type in division, hit go, and the function for division would come up. So if I click on the first one right here, oops, let me do that again. Division. If you click on any of the options here, I'm going to do the first one. The definition will come up below, and this will tell you exactly what this function is going to do. Now this here it says returns the integer portion of a division, which is what I want. So I'd click on so quotient is the one that I'd be using. I could also click on it and put my cells in here if I wanted to. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to try it with different cells. So if I put 10 in here and 5 in here, and I want my answer to come up in J10, I could do equal sign. I could type in the word quotient, and here it is right here. Double click on that. So I'm going to do J2, comma, M6, and comma, M6, and I'm going to close my bracket. Hit enter, and there is my answer right there. So again, this formulas tab could always help you look for formulas that you're not aware of. And that is basically how you use formulas and functions in Excel to calculate various numbers. In the exercises in class, you will be making use of the formulas tab, and you will be making various calculations just so you get practice with how to create formulas and how to use various functions within Excel.